Building muscle isn't just about lifting heavy and eating a ton of food, it's a science. But don't worry, I'm breaking it all down for you today using insights from the best minds in exercise science and nutrition. So, whether you're a beginner or looking to level up your training, this is the ultimate guide on how to build muscle the right way. Let's get into it. Let's kick things off with exercise selection. Basically, what you should be doing in the gym. According to Dr. Mike Israetel, one of the top hypertrophy experts out there, the number of exercises you include per muscle group matters more than you think. He recommends sticking to 2 to 4 exercises per muscle group in your weekly plan. Why? Because going beyond that doesn't automatically mean better results. It can actually lead to overlapping movement patterns and fatigue without additional benefit. And here's the key. Don't change exercises every single week, it's a common mistake. The only time you should really switch things up is if the exercise starts hurting your joints, you're getting bored to the point where it affects consistency, or there's a better movement available for your current goal. So, build your program around a few solid compound and isolation movements, and then, stick to them long enough to actually get stronger. Next up, how many sets and how often should you train a muscle for optimal growth? Dr. Brad Schoenfeld, one of the most cited researchers in hypertrophy, breaks it down like this. You want to hit 10 to 20 sets per muscle group per week. That's the sweet spot for most people looking to build muscle. But here's the catch. If you're a beginner, don't even stress about volume at first. The first few months should be all about learning movement patterns, improving technique, and building consistency. Get good at the basics before trying to optimize everything. Once you're past that stage, Brad recommends considering an upper-lower split to help hit each muscle group more than once a week. And yes, training muscles more than once per week seems to provide a slight benefit, especially when you're doing more than 8 to 10 sets per muscle weekly. Also, if you want to bring up a lagging body part, Brad suggests trying out specialization cycles, temporary increases in volume for that specific muscle. Alright, now let's talk numbers. How heavy should you be lifting and how many reps? Daniel Plotkin recommends aiming for 5 to 15 reps per set, which generally means using a moderate weight. Heavy enough to challenge you, but not so heavy that your form falls apart. Alright, so here's where the magic happens. Daniel suggests using a progressive overload method called double progression. So here's how it works. Let's say you're lifting a weight for 8 reps. You stick with that same weight but aim to hit 9 or maybe even 10 reps the next week. Then once you can knock out 12 reps with solid form, you go ahead and add a little more weight and start the cycle over. This approach, it really ensures you're actually getting stronger week to week, which honestly is the real driver of muscle growth. Now, what about training to failure? Is pushing every set to the absolute limit the best way to grow? Well, according to Josh, who's another respected voice in this space, training to failure can actually lead to more muscle growth. But that benefit usually only shows up when you're looking at one set in isolation. The trade-off? It also creates way more fatigue, which can really hurt your performance in later sets, and even future workouts too. So, that's why he recommends you stop 2 to 3 reps before failure on most sets. Then, if you really want to go all out, save that effort for your last set of an exercise, where it makes the most impact without totally wrecking your whole session. Here's a cool science-based hack from Dr. Milo Wolf. He suggests that lengthened partials, basically doing reps only in the stretched part of the movement, may actually provide equal or even superior hypertrophy compared to full range of motion. So, for example, when doing a lateral raise, you'd focus only on the bottom half of the lift where the muscle is under the most tension in a stretched position. This doesn't mean to replace full range of motion entirely, but it's a great tool to mix in, especially for stubborn muscles. Let's shift gears now and talk about the other half of the muscle building equation: nutrition. Dr. Eric Helms breaks down how your calorie surplus should match your training experience. Alright, so here's the breakdown. If you're a beginner, you'll want to aim to gain about 2% of your body weight per month. That means, yeah, you're looking at a surplus of around 300 to 500 calories a day. Now for intermediates, you should shoot for gaining roughly 1% per month. So, that's going to be a 200 to 300 calorie surplus daily. And for advanced lifters, it's a bit more subtle. You're aiming for just about 0.5% to 1% per month, with a small surplus of around 100 to 200 calories a day. The more advanced you are, the slower you should gain. Why? Well, because your rate of muscle growth slows down, and fat gain becomes more likely if you push your surplus too hard. Last but absolutely not least, let's talk about protein. Alan Aragon, one of the best in the business when it comes to evidence-based nutrition, says that total daily protein intake is your top priority. Think of it like this: hitting 0.7 to 1.0 grams of protein per pound of body weight is the cake. That's the foundation. And the icing? Well, spread that protein across at least 3 meals per day. This helps with muscle protein synthesis throughout the day, keeping your gains steady and consistent. Bonus tip: don't stress over finding the perfect source. Just aim for variety. Combine animal proteins, dairy, plant-based sources, whatever works for you and your goals. So let's wrap this all up. Choose 2 to 4 SMART exercises per muscle. Train each muscle 1 to 2 times per week with 10 to 20 total sets. Work in the 5 to 15 rep range and use double progression. Leave 2 to 3 reps in the tank, but hey, take that last set to failure if you want. Mix in lengthened partials for extra tension. Eat in a surplus that matches your experience level. And of course, hit your protein goal daily and space it out. Consistency, patience, and smart programming. That's the winning formula. If you found this breakdown helpful, drop a like, hit subscribe, and let me know in the comments. What's one thing you're going to change in your training this week? Thanks for watching, and go build that muscle.